Welcome back to another episode of Hits Different, a Taylor Swift podcast. I'm Molly.
I'm Ryan.
Today we've got the fresh Tayvis content for you. Karma is my boyfriend coming your way. We have a brand new game that Ryan doesn't even know about yet. And we are going to get you ready for the Grammys with a little trip down memory lane of Taylor's Grammy history. In our next episode, we're going to get you ready for the Eras Tour because it picks back up in just a few weeks. So Ryan's going to let you know we need a little help from you for our next episode.
We're going to talk about essentials to bring to the Eras Tour, things not to bring, things not to wear. So if you've been and you have some tips, let us know your most essential item or items. Comment down below on our YouTube or on TikTok, Instagram. Make sure you let us know.
Yeah, we want to hear if you went to the Eras Tour in 2023, we want to know what you brought that was valuable, or maybe something that you brought that was ended up being useless, so that we can get the Swifties who are going in 2024, get them a nice little list ready to go. Because Ryan and I are both planners, and you gotta start planning that shit in advance, okay?
Are we? Are we both planners?
We are both planners, just some of us can execute more than others.
Some of us plan the day before, some of us plan 6 months out, you know?
This is for the people who are either going to be going in Tokyo in like 24 hours from when that episode drops, or they're going into Vancouver and they're getting ready a year in advance. If you are watching on YouTube, you can leave a comment below. And we've already started making some special bonus content for our YouTube channel. So definitely subscribe there if you'd like to get additional content in between our episodes. To start us off, we are just going to start with the best, okay? It's time for Karma is my boyfriend.
Karma is a god. Karma is the guy in the Chiefs.
Coming straight home to me. Oh my gosh, we have gotten so much Tayvis content in the last 2 weeks. She showed up to the Dolphins playoff game with a custom 87 jacket on that like broke the internet.
Yes, many comments about the fact that it was not a Nike jacket, but in fact a custom edition made by Kristen. Never gonna say her last name correctly.
Yeah, that's a good call. She made a jacket for Britney and Taylor. The story I heard, no idea if this is true, is that she has made custom pieces of clothing for Britney before, and so she just went ahead and sent one for Taylor, hoping that Britney would give it to Taylor to wear.
Dang. And of course, Taylor probably freaked out and was like, oh my God. And now, of course, everybody wants one. And this chick is famous beyond belief. But I did also hear that, like, she technically can't sell them potentially because it is still has, like, the Nike check, or, like, there's still some trademark issues going on if she was to sell these refurbished items, because you're technically still selling, like, a Nike jacket. So it might just be, like, an insider celebrity custom gift. I don't know if she can actually profit off of it. I don't know.
Interesting. And then also the Kristen, the person who made the jacket, her husband is an NFL player, and he was like all up in the comments that day, making sure to pay credit to her, like, Kristen made this jacket, and like tagging her account.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see where that goes. But I mean, she has the fame now, so she can just have celebrities pay her under the table. And, you know, I'm sure Britney paid for it, obviously. Just like us normies out here can't buy one, but that's okay. It probably would be way too expensive anyway.
It's also one of those things that it's like Taylor's probably never going to wear that again. The next game was maybe even colder than, well, I don't know. That game was really, really freaking cold. But then the Chiefs won and they went on to play in Buffalo, which was also freezing. And she wore a different jacket that did not look nearly as warm. And I'm like, man, you really... Because you're Taylor Swift, you're not going to wear that twice, are you?
No. Because she's a celebrity, she's not going to wear that twice.
Yeah.
She might wear it like out, I would say out to run errands, but she doesn't really do that either. So
can you imagine?
Yep, it lives in her closet forever until they break up.
Can you imagine?
She'll wear it to the grocery store, you know? It's normal.
Photo of Taylor Swift.
Taylor's seen at Trader Joe's.
That wouldn't draw any attention to herself.
Whole Foods.
Yeah. I mean,
She'd
either
go to
or, I
Whole
think.
Foods. Who am I kidding? Not Trader Joe's.
But Travis was seen at a Trader Joe's shopping a couple months ago, like when she was in town. So maybe she does like Trader Joe's.
That's true. It's for the poor man, the bougie poor man. I shop at Trader Joe's.
The bougie poor
It's where
man.
you get nice stuff for not a lot.
Dude, yeah, you save a lot of money at Trader Joe's.
You feel like you're getting good product.
Yeah. You are getting, because you are getting a good product.
Shout out Trader Joe's.
I feel like the jacket was the biggest storyline from that game. So we'll just fast forward straight on to the next playoff game, which was at Buffalo. They were playing the Bills. There were so many big sports storylines surrounding this game because the Chiefs had never played a playoff game on the road. Well, Patrick Mahomes got his 13th playoff win. The Bills fans were talking mad crap about Taylor leading up to this game. They were burning freaking photos of her before the game. When she landed and got to the stadium, there was a clip of Bills fans shouting at her "Bills by a billion," and she like blew them a kiss pretty aggressively. There was just so much smack, and they did not realize that Taylor has karma on her side. And when you do that, you will be punished.
She also has a devout fandom who will come for you. And I was just thinking that she probably has realized since she's been going to all these games that it's now becoming fun because it's just her against all of these men who have very fragile egos for no reason. So it's now probably just become a whole different thing for her. You know, she shows up to these games and it's like, let's go. What man do I need to crush today?
I feel like Taylor, you know, at the beginning of the season when she started going to Chiefs games, she was like, I'm just happy to be here. But this was playoff Taylor. When I saw the clip of the fan yelling at her "Bills by a billion," I'm like, she's just going to keep walking. You know, she's used to hecklers. But the turn and the... so good.
It's probably easier because it's not like about her anymore. You know what I mean? Like they think it's about her, but she's seeing it as like, this is sports. You know what I mean? It's like, she's a Chiefs fan. That's how it is. She's like, I like sports. Sports is fun.
I'm worried she's going to like damage her vocal cords. There was a clip of her from the Dolphins game where it was from the stands. Someone recorded her and she was like, "Wah!" I'm like, oh no, Taylor, you got to go back on tour soon. Like, don't blow out the vocal cords.
Jeez, considering she usually doesn't like talk or something like afterwards, supposedly.
She said in the Time Person of the Year article that she usually goes on like vocal rest like in between the shows. Yeah, when she has like 3 in a row. Maybe the games are keeping her voice warmed up for the tour, actually.
Maybe.
There were also a lot of storylines leading up to this game that were swirling in the tabloids. This was one of the bonus YouTube videos that we did. People thought that somehow she and Jason and Kylie like had a strained relationship and there were some news stories about it. Well, Jason and Kylie showed up to the box. Jason lost the week before, so the Eagles were out of the playoffs and they are free to travel because the season's over. So the whole Kelce family showed up. It was like Travis's mom and dad, Donna and Ed were both there, and then Jason and Kylie. And we finally got to see some clips of Taylor interacting with Travis's brother, which I just think was so fun.
Who eventually was shirtless.
Correct. Also, did you see Travis's touchdown celebration?
Fearless era.
Hell yeah. So good.
She taught him well.
She really did.
While looking at the box, apparently.
Yeah, he like blew a kiss and then threw up the heart hands.
Oh, I hope they win next week for her because I don't care about NFL, but I don't wish a loss for her.
If they were to lose, the silver lining would be that Travis could go to the Grammys.
True, unless he's too sad still.
Considering the way that the Chiefs had been playing, the fact that they won this game, I think, was a huge accomplishment. And he should just take that as a win. Travis hadn't scored a touchdown in like 7 games, and then he scored 2. Did you by chance see Travis's pregame outfit?
I did not. Wow. Is that her anti-hero video?
That's her from the anti-hero video. For our listeners, Travis wore like a mustard yellow suit with a striped like turtleneck shirt underneath which it looks like almost identical to one of the outfits Taylor is wearing in the Anti-Hero music video.
That is an odd choice. I mean, you know how I feel about his wardrobe.
He's supporting Midnight's for Grammy Album of the Year.
Is he? Or he's wearing Chiefs colors and trying to be like an artsy painter in France. It's also the look could be going for.
Sometimes I feel like everybody is an art bro lately. So the Chiefs beat the Bills. All the Bills fans who were talking crap about Taylor are now drowning in their own tears. And my favorite celebration that I saw afterwards is that a Chiefs tight end posted a video with Bad Blood playing in the background.
'Cause baby, now we got bad blood. You know it used to be bad blood.
Let's go!
That better be Taylor's version.
I don't think it is.
What?
It's all right. We'll teach him.
Flag on the play.
Oh, yeah. There was just so much good content that came out of the game. Once again, I've said it before, but as a sports fan and a Taylor fan, the internet on the days of Chiefs games that Taylor goes to is just like my favorite place to be.
You do follow it very closely.
Oh, in our last episode, I started it off by saying that you were not as hardcore of a swiftie. And I feel like I need to correct this statement because I had a couple of friends text me afterwards like, I didn't realize that Ryan wasn't as big of a swiftie. And I'm like, I didn't explain that properly.
Yeah, I just have a podcast just for fun. 'Cause I have nothing else. I have nothing else going on, you know? I kind of like Taylor and I have nothing else to talk about in my life. So I'm just like, yeah, why not, Molly? I'll help you out. I'll join the podcast.
If you can't tell, she's being sarcastic.
Oh, yeah, I know. I'm like, I should say spoiler. That's not true. Disclaimer, not true.
Ryan is a big swiftie. She just happens to have approximately 4 jobs.
And we digest info differently. So even if I had one job, I would be more in the know. But I don't know. I feel like I really like step up when the albums are coming out. I mean, we went all in for 1989 and I'm really just sitting around. I'm like hibernating, waiting for rep. And until then, you know, I'm just here for the ride.
When I said that you were not as big of a swiftie, or I forget how I phrased it now, but it was just wrong. What I really meant is I have no life and I follow the Taylor Swift news cycle constantly. And it's gotten even worse because we have a podcast. Like I did it a lot anyway, but now I'm like, I have to know what's going on. And you just know that I'll know what's going on. So you don't feel the need to keep up with it.
I know. And now thanks to our Foolish One segment, I'm almost like, okay, I feel like I need to know enough, but I can't know too much or else then what's the joke, you know? But I still wouldn't know enough. But like,
Yeah, like someday,
there's just a lot.
someday if we make it big and we actually start making some money off of this podcast, then it would become more of our jobs and you'd be more in the know and then I wouldn't be able to make fun of you.
And then I'd quit my other jobs. So
That's what I mean. You'd have more time and then you'd be more in the know, but then it wouldn't be as funny when I school you on things, which I'm about to do.
I know there's sometimes like, I mean, leading up the last 2 weeks to this podcast, Molly's like, oh my God, I'm making the rundown. I'm doing all this stuff. And I'm just thinking like, what has happened in the last 2 weeks? Like outside of the obvious, the games, Grammys coming up. I'm like, that's it. And it's like, no, there's always so much more that I can't keep up with.
So much more. Are you ready to find out the game I've been preparing for you?
I love games. Games.
All right. The name of this game is Two Truths and
a liar.
Oh, what? And a what?
And a liar.
2 truths and a what?
And a liar.
2 truths and a liar.
I'm going to read off information in groups of 3. And you're going to guess which one is
And a liar.
the liar and pathetic.
It wasn't true.
Oh, I love this so much.
Wow. Our producer is playing lots of clips in our ears that I didn't even know that he prepared for this. I only requested and a liar
And a liar.
and pathetic.
And pathetic.
Okay. Here we go. The first category of Two Truths and
And a liar.
is the Bills game. All right, so I'm going to read off 3 things, and 2 of them will be true, and 1 of them will be.
It wasn't true.
And when you guess, you will find out if it was
This time it was true.
or.
And a liar.
So, to start, we will just pick it right back up at the Bills game that we were just talking about. So, number 1, Jason Kelce took shots out of a bowling ball at a tailgate. Number 2, Jason Kelce participated in the Bills tailgating tradition of jumping onto a table and breaking it. And number 3, Jason Kelce jumped out of the suite and lifted up a fan to introduce her to Taylor.
I would say the last one's a lie. Jason lifting up a fan to see Taylor is a lie.
What you heard is true.
Okay.
Jason legitimately jumped out of the suite. So he'd already done it once in the game, but then he saw a Bills fan holding up a poster that said, "I heart Taylor Swift." And he literally was like, "Hold my beer," jumped out of the suite, went, lifted her up, brought her over to like the big plexiglass of the suite, and she waved at Taylor and Taylor waved back, and then he like put her down and then he jumped back into the suite.
Wow. He must have been really vibing off them drinks. Is this when did he have a shirt on at this
He
point?
did not have a shirt on. So your remaining options are Jason Kelce took shots out of a bowling ball at a tailgate, or Jason Kelce participated in the Bills tailgating tradition of jumping onto a table and breaking it. Which one's the lie?
This is hard. I'll say the bowling ball is a lie.
This time it was true.
Dang it.
He rolled up to a Bills tailgate. Mind you, like Kylie and family are already like in the suite around the time we're seeing this hit social media. He went up to a tailgate and took a bowling ball and took shots of it. And yeah, the Bills fans do jump off of tables and break them, but Jason didn't do that.
In hindsight, that makes the most sense now looking back through this round, but nonetheless, I lost.
And a liar.
And a liar. And pathetic.
Round 2, the Dolphins game. Number 1, Taylor was seen singing along to Country Roads. Number 2, Taylor gave her scarf to a fan. Number 3, Taylor was caught on camera looking at her own frozen breath in the cold.
I'll say the scarf one wasn't true.
What you heard is true.
She took her scarf off and handed it to a fan because it was so cold that day. And she was like, "You're our good luck charm." And the fan looked cold. So she gave someone her scarf. The scarf stories live on.
What? All right, I'm going to say the Country Roads isn't true.
It wasn't true.
Yay.
Great.
She was seen singing along to "I've got friends in low places." So I just changed it to Country Roads.
I should have known that was you because as soon as I heard Country Roads, I was like, Molly? And I was like, I should have known that wasn't true. Dang it.
Round 3, Taylor celebrations. Number 1, Taylor gave out high 4s to Chiefs fans. Number 2, Taylor held up the number 10 on her fingers after a touchdown. Number 3, Taylor and Brittany blew kisses to the Bills fans after the game.
The last one's not true.
It wasn't true.
Good job.
Hey. I actually knew the first one.
The high 4s.
I saw the pictures.
Yeah.
I don't know why she was doing that, but
The person who scored, his name's Rashid Rice, and he is number 4. So she's like, he scored a touchdown, and people went to go try to give her a high 5, and she's like, "No, high 4, high 4." Like,
I thought it because it was cold, and yeah, I don't know. And then just now, I thought you were gonna say that he was like missing a thumb, and nope, none of those are true.
no. It's just Taylor being
No.
like, "I can count." And then, yeah, then number 10, Pacheco, scored yesterday, and she was going, 10.
I love numbers, and then people were like, "What does it mean? She did it 3 times. That's how many days till rep releases."
Actually,
You know that happened.
Actually, I haven't even seen that yet. So we could start the
She did it
rumors.
10 times. Yeah, dude, let's go. You heard it first.
You were
Go back, count how many times she flashed them 5s, and do the math, and then, times it by 2 and whatever.
TS11 is
it.
coming.
It probably announced the day of her first day back on tour. We don't know. And the high 4s, those were an Easter egg too, guys. Come on.
Shit, you're right. We've been missing clues.
Do the math. Add up the 4s and the 10s. Molly's definitely
Damn.
thinking about this right now.
I am. I
I'm just
so
gonna
am.
see what I come up with.
I'm really hoping that a Swiftie who listens to this podcast does math because we don't math here.
We need a math teacher, guys. We need a math teacher, an accountant, financial advisor, someone.
If anyone would like to be the official Hit Stiff Pod mathematician, we are hiring.
What can we give you? Nothing. We can give you virtual high fours.
We can give you a platform for your math skills. All right, round 4, Swiftie-inspired food. Number 1, the Bills sold Bad Blood waffle fries and Karma quesadillas. Number 2, Raisin Bran is capitalizing off of the Jack Antonoff photo of Taylor eating raisins, and they are releasing an Eras tour-themed cereal box. Number 3, a bakery made a black and white cake with a picture of Taylor Swift's empty Instagram account pre-rep announcement. And if you light the cake on fire, the icing burns off and reveals a photo of Taylor in her rep costume.
Oh my God. Okay, well, first thing I'm thinking about is if you made any of those last two up, I'm concerned. Okay. Okay. But then again, I'm like, the Raisin Bran thing, I feel like you would have told me. But then again, maybe you didn't because you wanted to save it. I would go with the first one because the Bills, are they really giving in to Taylor? I thought that was the whole, like, we hate her. And then also, what is a Karma quesadilla? Is that one that you regret later on? Like, is that really the best name for your quesadilla? Or any food, honestly. Oh, this is my Karma taco. No. No one wants that. And Bad Blood what? What was the other one? Bad Blood
waffle fries.
Gross. So the ketchup is like the blood? No. I think you made that up, Molly. And if you did, that was great.
This time it was true.
They
Why?
really sold that.
Karma quesadilla? She has so many songs. Why do you need to name one after that? A Karma quesadilla. All right. Well, I hope nobody has, regrets from eating any of that. Weird choice. Like the Eras tour, like how they did like really nice cocktails named after her, and it was
we had like a lavender haze cocktail.
That's a vibe. That's on brand. But when you start naming food, it gets a little fucking weird. Okay, great. I mean, it has to be the Raisin Bran, isn't true.
And a liar.
Okay, thank God.
I totally
I was
made
like,
that one
if
up.
you made wait. Okay, good. I was like, if you made up the cake, so then when you burn it reveals her face, and I'm like, Molly, this has got to be real, or else I don't understand.
I really, really wish that I had made it up because it's so creative. Yeah, and I was also worried you would have seen it because I liked it on our joint TikTok account.
I'm not going through our own likes. Oh, come on. So where can I get one of these cakes?
Right?
Dang, that bitch is selling out.
Next round, Taylor style. Number 1, Taylor was seen wearing New Heights merch. Number 2, Taylor was seen wearing snake boots. Number 3, Taylor was seen wearing a necklace with a quote from Kobe Bryant on it.
Well, I know number 2 is true. I want to say the New Heights isn't true.
It wasn't true.
Hey.
Good job. Kylie is such a true Eagles fan. She did not actually wear Chiefs gear at the Chiefs-Bills game. She wore New Heights merch that's like the color of the Chiefs because they have New Heights merch in both like Eagles colors and Chiefs colors. But it was so oversized. I wonder if it was Jason's. Like, it was huge. She just knows she's like, I'm not buying shit in red and yellow.
Yeah. Or it was what's his face? It was Travis's.
Yeah.
So why would Jason have an orange and red one?
Well, because because it's their podcast, Travis showed up wearing like Eagles colors to an Eagles game earlier this year. But yeah, the necklace that had a Kobe quote on it said "Bet on yourself."
Oh, where'd she
Right?
get it?
I think it was from like some charity auction for the Mambasita Foundation. Yeah. Vanessa Bryant
cute.
reposted about the story about her wearing it, and she was wearing it into the studio.
Oh boy.
Bet on yourself. Let's go, rep. All right. We got 2 more rounds left. The next one is Taylor and Friends. Number 1, Gracie Abrams sang You Belong With Me at karaoke in Australia. Number 2, Selena Gomez changed her profile picture on all of her socials to be black and white. Number 3, Jack Antonoff tweeted, I can fight.
I want to say number 2 is the lie.
And a liar.
I feel like I would have heard of that.
So Selena didn't do it, but a couple other of Taylor's friends all have black and white socials now. People are freaking out about it, but Selena is not one of them. So I was hoping to get you with that. And yeah, Gracie posted on her Insta story. So she's on tour in Australia right now. She posted on her Insta story a picture of like her like at karaoke with the lyrics to You Belong With Me. And then Jack Antonoff, I can only assume it was not related to Taylor, but the fact that he tweeted I can fight when the running joke in the swiftie verse has been can Jill fight? And then she started dating Travis and it was like Travis can fight. I just thought it was hilarious that he tweeted that.
Man, he does tweet some pretty obscure stuff. Who knows what he's talking about?
My personal favorite Jack Antonoff tweet ever was Kanye is a little bitty bitch.
A little bitty bitch.
All right. Final category. Taylor merch store fails. 1. The 1989 viewfinders were shipped out, finally. And Swifties are discovering that they have photos of 1989 and Reputation in them. Number 2. The Australian Swifties are starting to receive their VIP packages for the tour. And their commemorative ticket says 2023 instead of 2024. Or number 3. Swifties are receiving their lover snow globes finally from their Christmas orders, but due to the extreme cold in the Northeast, they are arriving frozen and cracked.
What is a viewfinder?
It's like, you know, one of those old school things. You like hold up and you put the little film in it and then you like click it and it spins. It's like a Polaroid camera. They were selling them for 1989 merch.
I'm going to say that 2023 is a lie.
This time it was true.
Wow.
Yeah, people are
Okay.
receiving VIP boxes with the wrong year on it.
Guess they will be
Yikes.
reselling those. The last one sounds like a lie, but I'm going to say that the viewfinder is a lie.
It wasn't true.
Hey. I mean, that would be peak trolling. That'd be sick. They're like, oh, that's why this took so long to send out, because we decided to fuck with you guys and throw in some rep stuff. It'd be like, okay.
So the viewfinder has like 2 different things of film, and one of them is like the old or original 1989 photo shoot, and then the second one is the new 1989 Taylor's version photo shoot.
Aw.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they kept the old stuff.
I know. I was surprised by that too. But I guess she technically still owns like some of that creative. And then, yeah, the Lover snow globes have been like a hot Swiftie merch item in the store. They like sell out like hotcakes, and they were for sale again over Christmas. But all of the Christmas orders got delayed, and so people are just now getting them.
RIP your customer service lines. Yikes.
Yeah, not ideal.
I would not want to be customer service for Taylor's merch. My God.
Right?
No. Holy heck, they deserve everything.
Yeah. And so people are reaching out being like, yo, you shipped it in like sub-zero temperatures and it wasn't protected well enough and it is now broken. And they're like, would you like a refund? Because we sold out, so we can't replace it for you.
They're like, no, you should have waited. And they're like, well, we were trying to get it out to you as quick as possible. It's like, was it worth it? Couldn't have waited like 3 months to not. You've already waited this long.
All right, well, that concludes 2 truths and
And a liar.
Hey. I got like, what, 2 out of 5?
I should have been scorekeeping. We'll have to do that next time.
Our Swiftie listener mathematician can join in. You know, the person we're vetting. Person who knows math can go back and count and let us know.
Yeah. I was actually worried that you were going to know more than you did. So thanks for proving me right.
The internet is vast, and I can't keep up, clearly. Or I'm not getting the right notifications, or I don't know.
Well, I think, as we've discussed before, I am a big Twitter swiftie, and you're not. And a lot of that stuff is coming from there. Like, you're a TikTok swiftie. I'm a Twitter swiftie.
Yeah, you're right. And TikTok delivers a whole different batch of usually useless content on TikTok. It's usually just people with their wild theories or just them making cool content Taylor videos. Not really helpful at all. Entertaining, not helpful.
Someday I'll come up with a TikTok Swiftie inspired segment, but that's what we had for now.
Ooh, I could do that. I could reverse the
Yeah.
role and school you.
Please do.
Writing it
Yes.
down. Writing it down. The Grammys are coming up, y'all. Get ready. Mark your calendars for February 4th.
February
You
4th.
get it?
Santa's coming.
February 4th, baby. Santa's coming to town and Midnight's is gonna win.
We're so excited. We're going to be together to watch the Grammys. It's going to be great.
Content House. We haven't been together since. Wait, I don't think we've been together since 1989.
We haven't.
Wow.
I know. It's been a long
Flashback.
time
Flashback to my
coming. It's been a long time coming. Big reputation.
Flashback to my mistakes, rebounds, earthquakes. All right, we're getting off track. But it's a musical show. It's a musical word show. So we're actually right on brand.
Facts. All right. Taylor and the Grammys. It's a whole thread, okay? If we were on Twitter, it'd be like Taylor and the Grammys, a thread. And then there would be 100,000 tweets because as we were researching Taylor's history at the Grammys, there's just so much to it. And we wanted to just, if you're a new Swiftie or maybe just a Swiftie with a bad memory like Ryan, you just can't recall what happened in 2008. Maybe you just want a little refresher.
Shout out. Or not shout out. Call out. Back in 2008. When was that?
We thought it'd be just helpful to get you in the Grammys mindset with the Grammys coming up and Midnight's coming for the historical sweep. We thought it would be a great idea to revisit Taylor's big moments at the Grammys. And I knew that there were a lot of important moments for Taylor at the Grammys, and then obviously she's broken a lot of awards, but I truly forgot about how many iconic moments have happened for her at the Grammys.
It's where it all started, I guess.
Yes. So, some numbers for you before we dive into it all. She's won 12 Grammys total. She's received 52 nominations. 6 of those are pending. So they're 52 includes the upcoming Grammys. She was the first female artist to win Album of the Year twice, and she's the only one to have won it 3 times.
Maybe 4.
If she were to win for Midnight's, she would have won Album of the Year 4 times and would be the only artist to ever do that.
Male or female?
Correct.
Not to say anything against Midnight's, but it wouldn't be like my, if we had to vote for an album to lead the way and get us there. Not like we have a choice. But I don't know if I would pitch Midnight's. But that's okay.
I disagree with you, but we're not.
Molly's giving me a look.
We
She loves
have
Midnight's.
no time to debate Midnight's right now, but I strongly disagree with you. I love Midnight's. We've talked about that on previous pods. I love it. Before we get to 2024, let's go all the way back to 2008.
2008. The year of the first Twilight movie.
Ooh.
Notable. For those who don't know out there, big Twihards
Oh,
here.
yes.
We don't have time for that either. So that is another side bonus episode for any Twihards who want to really just deep dive that. Other popular things going on that year or trends: long square acrylic nails, aka the French manicure. I had them often. Juicy Couture tracksuits.
Juicy.
And Ugg boots.
Ooh.
The combo, if you had the combo, you're really in there. I, for one, didn't wear either of those ever. I did wear a few things with like stuff written on the butt, but never Juicy. I usually like knock off just dumb shit.
Same.
But no Uggs. Never wore Uggs.
Same. I definitely had some sort of cheaper version of Uggs at some point. You know, you would wear like the leggings with like a denim skirt over it and then tuck them into your knockoff Ugg boots.
Without meaning any offense, I could see you wearing Uggs. Like not now, but like back then.
Yeah.
So that surprises me that you didn't have any.
No.
All right. So now we're back in 2008. It was a rough time for fashion.
All right. Yeah. We're back in 2008. It was the 50th Grammys. Taylor was 18. And it was her very first time going to the Grammys. Before we even get to the Grammys, in December of 2007, she was part of the Grammy announcements, because there's an announcements show that happens beforehand where all the nominations are announced. And she was on stage to like present an award, and Dave Grohl was announcing the nominees for Best New Artist and said her name. So she was like on stage and was there. It was so cute.
They had a thing however many years later, right? Where he was like fangirling over her a few years ago, right? They had like an interaction.
I don't know.
We'll update that.
So yeah, that was really cute. And at the nominations concert, she performed White Horse. And then fast forward a couple months later, she's at the actual Grammys, and she says on her red carpet interview that she is missing her prom for the Grammys.
But don't worry, she's already been twice.
I'm not going to prom this year. I decided to go to the Grammys instead. And I don't want anyone feeling bad for me because I've already been to prom twice.
I don't want to date myself, but yeah, I already knew that Taylor and I were the same age, but then I was like doing the math. I was like 2008, and I was like, yep, same. So yeah, same year would have been going to senior prom as well. I also didn't go. Taylor, we're the same. But I didn't go 2 other times. I just didn't go.
Is there a fun story about why you didn't go to prom?
I just dated a guy who was older, not in school anymore, and I think he was too old to go, so I wouldn't have had a date. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Older dudes,
Yeah.
you know? Too
Yeah.
old.
Well, you know, Taylor would enter that era soon. Like 1 year later.
Right? A girl after my own heart. She's like, me too, girl.
So notably, when they asked her on the red carpet who she was excited to meet, Kanye West was one of the people she named. We will just breeze right past that. She ended up losing the Best New Artist category to Amy Winehouse.
Which is crazy.
Right?
But if you're going to lose to anyone, R.I.P. Amy Winehouse was incredible. Very short-lived. It's crazy that it was that year that they were aligned in that way. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. Going back through this is like so many blasts from the past. I mean, for all we know, we have some Swifties listening who weren't even alive in 2008, which is kind of crazy to think about. But yeah, some people might not even know any of this or know who Amy Winehouse is, but she was pretty epic back then.
Sorry, I was reading this. I was trying to find out the Dave Grohl thing, and I found it.
Oh, what is it?
The headline is just Dave Grohl, how Taylor Swift saved me while I was high at a Paul McCartney party. He'd smoked pot, and I guess they like wanted him to play music, and he was struggling, and then he needed to play piano, and he looked around, all the guitars are left-handed, I'm screwed. And then so she played piano with him, apparently.
That's awesome.
I think there's video. Anyway, yeah, I knew there was something. So like, yeah, they have like a cute little history, and he respects her a lot, which is great because Dave Grohl is incredible.
Agreed. So. Yeah, she was so excited when he announced her. She like ran up and gave him a big hug. It was really cute. On to the next year.
2009, the year of low-rise jeans, velvet tracksuits, and layered dresses and skirts, which you kind of referenced before. We all know we were all doing it. Every Disney sitcom, every sitcom ever with any females around that age were doing it. I don't know if I was really doing it. I was probably doing it. I don't know. I wore pants a lot. Didn't really wear skirts. So.
Same, yeah. Pants girl.
Yeah. But you could do the long shirt with the belt.
Definitely a lot of like camis layered with something over top of it.
Yeah, double camis.
Double cami.
Sure. With the polo.
Did you pop your polo?
Of course I popped my collar.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, we were cool.
Yeah, I wasn't cool, but I did pop my collar.
We were gangster, man.
Taylor was 19 at this Grammys, and it was the beginning of her Fearless era.
And she sang that song with Miley Cyrus, which I never knew when they covered 15. And it was like just funny watching the videos of them rehearsing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised they never really became friends, but like they're very different. So
True. Very different. Yeah. But they've both like had nice things to say about each other in the press and whatnot. The acoustic cover of 15 is wild to go and watch back. It's like how iconic that Taylor and Miley were performing that song. I mean, again, at this point, Taylor's already 19, a couple years removed from when she wrote that song as a freshman in high school. But Miley's vocals like really stand out to me. Like her voice was already so strong then.
I know when I heard just a blip of the actual performance, and it just sounded like Taylor was just trying so hard to just like perform and like sing. Like she was singing in one, like, I don't know, like a lyric in a different like note or key or whatever it is. And I was like, that's not how the song goes. But I think she was trying to be really cool and edgy because, you know, Miley's so cool. It's like, girl, it's your song. Like, that's cool enough, man. Don't change it and be weird. Like, you have to sing it well. It's your song.
We both watched some segments to refresh our memories on this stuff. And when you see like the clip of 15 in one of the recap videos, it doesn't really do Taylor justice. Like she does sound like herself throughout most of the song, but Miley's vocals are just like, she just is able to kind of belt it out more. And so she kind of changes the song and makes Taylor's more like soft spoken part of the song sound different.
Yeah, it wasn't really a good pair. But, I mean, as we all know, Taylor's vocals back then were very up and coming. So her transition from then to now in itself is, like, wild.
Yes.
And how cute and hopeful she was back then, you know. Just so excited to win and to be there. And I feel like that actually, like, watching it lasted many years. Like, she stayed stoked about it until the rep era. Or, like, right, or the Kanye or, like, pre-rep, whatever. It was like, that's when she was like, you know what? I don't care. This isn't fun anymore. And it's like so sad because she stayed stoked about it for so many years.
Yeah, she's just like genuinely excited to be in the room.
Moving on to 2010, she's dating John Mayer, technically, during, like, at the time of the Grammys that year. Valentine's Day film came out, which is kind of awkward. Came out in February, which was obviously, I never realized that it came out post her and Taylor Lautner.
Yep.
But they didn't last very long, so that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Because they dated the fall before. We've got another Twilight movie, Eclipse. Let's go. We've got Colorful Skinny Jeans, which you've probably seen, the really popular one of Taylor with like the red jeans and the black and white top, where she looks like she's going to Paris.
Yeah.
Yes, that was in 2010. Those are very popular. I like needed all the skinny jeans in every color that existed. All the skinny jeans or the jeggings. And then Justin Bieber came out with his hit song Baby and jumped onto the map.
Baby, 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 oh. This is back when we were still allowed to like Justin Bieber.
I still like him, but we don't talk I knew when I put him on there on the rundown, I was like, I'm not going to talk about
I had
like, why are we mentioning him?
I had a poster of Baby Biebs back in the day, like around this time. He was so cool.
I don't think I had a crush on him because he was not hot back then. He was like so young, and it was kind of
the poster would have been from like maybe 2 years later, but yeah, it was like when he was in his comeuppance. And I don't think I had a crush on him, but I think that I thought he was cute in like a little brother kind of way. Like, I didn't think he was hot.
He was really talented.
Yeah.
He was really talented.
Yeah, I loved his music
Still is.
at the time. At the time, before he became a bully. All right, Taylor was 20 at this Grammys, and she brought her mom as her date. How nice. This was when she began her Grammys dominance. She was nominated for 8 total, and she ended up winning 4. The first 2 were in the pre-show. So she won for White Horse for Best Female Country Vocal Performance, and her acceptance is just so cute. And then her second award was for Best Country Song with Liz Rose. And Liz Rose comes onto the stage, and Taylor lets Liz give a speech. And this would end up leading us to years later, All Too Well, because Liz Rose is who she wrote All Too Well with.
Dang.
Yeah.
Was that the next song she wrote with her?
She wrote several songs on Fearless, which I mean, at this point, Fearless was already out. And then, then All Too Well. And it was so sweet. Like Liz in her speech was like, this little 14-year-old asking me to write with her, and I'm so glad I did. It's just like, how cool. And then Fearless went on to win Best Country Album, and Taylor gets her first album of the year for Fearless.
And that was when she said the first time she ever like got to accept the award, like actually live on air, right? Was that it?
Yeah, the other ones were like in the pre-show. So she, like at this point, that was like her 4th award of the night, but she still acted like it was her first Grammy.
Right. Because people were watching. She was like,
it's ironic because she performed Today Was a Fairy Tale in the ceremony as she's winning her first ever Grammys. This is the start of Taylor's twisted relationship with the Grammys, I guess you could say, because she sang Today Was a Fairy Tale, and then she brought Stevie Nicks on stage, and they sung, why can't I speak today? They sung the Fleetwood Mac song, Rhiannon, and then Stevie joined Taylor in singing You Belong With Me. And apparently there was a technical issue, and Taylor like couldn't hear herself or Stevie. And so she was off key in this performance, and listening to it back, I mean, it's hard to even find it. Like they've done a good job getting rid of it on YouTube. There's a couple really bad quality versions available. And so she sang off key in the performance. It didn't sound great, and it received a ton of criticism. It skyrocketed this whole situation that led to the song Mean. So in case you didn't know, the background, there was a critic, he's still alive. There is a critic named Bob, and he wrote the following. I feel like, I know it's a little boring, but I have to read what he wrote because it's important. In other words, did Taylor Swift kill her career overnight? I'll argue she did. In one fell swoop, Taylor Swift consigned herself to the dustbin of teen phenoms, who we expect to burn brightly and then fade away. Taylor's too young and dumb to understand the mistakes she made, and those surrounding her are addicted to cash and are afraid to tell her no. But last night, Taylor Swift should have auto-tuned to save her career. They say it's easy to fake it in the 21st century, but one thing we know is the truth will always come out. It's hard to be a singer if you can't sing. Ultimately, we want our stars to be genuine. Without this credibility, your time atop the charts is brief. Taylor Swift shortened her career last night, and since she says she calls all her own shots, she has to shoulder the blame. Yes, her dream came true. She made it. She's a star, but the real test is longevity. Elton John can play with Gaga decades later. Will Taylor Swift be duetting with the stars of the 2030s? Doubtful.
only 4 more years to go. Isn't he the same? Is that the same guy who went after her about writing her own songs?
You mean 6 years to go.
What did I say?
4.
Fuck. We really need that mathematician to join the show. 6 years.
Can you imagine?
High 4.
High 4.
Is that the same guy?
The same guy what?
Who gave her shit about 2 years ago about writing her own songs?
No, I think that was someone else.
Oh, the name sounded familiar. Okay.
The name sounded familiar because this guy is like infamous in Swiftie history. This did a number on her. She's having like the day of her dreams. She wins 4 Grammys. She performs with Stevie Nicks. She's on cloud 9. And then she comes to find out that she was off key in her performance because her earpiece wasn't working. And everyone is slandering her and saying basically like she can't sing. And well, you might have won awards tonight, but this isn't going to last because you can't sing.
Criticism started early, man.
Yep. So Taylor does the most Taylor thing possible and writes a song about it called Mean.
All you are is mean.
So in the song Mean, she literally writes about this review specifically. I think that one of the most full circle moments about all of this has, come recently, where some of the lyrics to the song are, and I can see you years from now in a bar laughing over a football game with that same big loud opinion, but nobody's listening, drunk and rambling on about how I can't sing, but all you are is mean. And it's so full circle because Taylor is all over the football games now. So this dude for sure cannot go to a bar without seeing her.
Hopefully he doesn't like football, or else, yeah, that song came to life.
So in 2011, she skipped the Grammys after all of that.
Well, she also wasn't nominated, right? Anyway.
No, she wasn't.
And she was probably like, I'm just going to sit this one out. 2012, post Jake Gyllenhaal, pre-Red Era, coming out that year. 2012, the year of YOLO, which sometimes I still use, which now in hindsight is, wow, 12 years old. Okay. I should probably stop saying that. 50 Shades of Grey book. Shout out. Not only am I a twihard, but 50 Shades of Grey, I mean, you know, it's all there's.
Obviously.
It's absurd in the best way.
Yeah.
Exposed Midriffs. Here's Looking at You, 1989. A few years early, but nonetheless relevant. Still relevant, actually. Exposed Midriffs.
Crop tops.
And then the Hunger Games movie release. Also big time for that.
Man, so many trilogies around this time.
I know. It was a good time for, like, books that became movies. I'd read all the Hunger Games, all the Twilight movies, and then they came out. They were exceptional, and it was a time.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Did you just call the Twilight movies exceptional?
I said what I said. Bitch, I said what I said.
50 Shades and Hunger Games, excellent.
I'd rather read Twilight instead.
No.
I hope you know that song. Do you know what?
Yes. I'd paint the town
Okay.
red. She a devil.
The writing's horrendous. The acting's awful, but in the best way.
I think that Twilight is the funniest out of all of them. I wouldn't
Yeah,
say-
Hunger Games is actually good. Twilight is, you know, I just got a DVD player for the first time, so not for the first time ever, but like in this decade, so gonna bust out the Twilight DVDs.
I've been rereading the Hunger Games books. They hit just as hard as they did back then. They're really
You should
good.
read the new one that came out.
I did. That's why I
Yours, isn't it?
I started
Oh, okay.
reading ballads of songbirds and snakes. I always mix up the words, and because I wanted to read it before I watched the new movie. And then after I read it, it's a prequel to the Hunger Games trilogy, and I was like, well, we're rolling on now. I already owned them. I just kept trucking through. Now I'm on the final book.
Wow. Meanwhile, I'm still on Words with Friends. Conversations with Friends. I'm using it right now as a mic stand, or else I would show you.
Well, that's the most action that book has gotten from you in
I
years.
know, it's like I found it on the table and was like, this will work. This is a good height.
Yeah, in our year in review episode, you said you were gonna finish it before the end of 2023. So let me know how that's going. We'll do a monthly check-in on Conversations with Friends.
Yeah, we should. I mean, I'm someone who doesn't make New Year's resolutions, so I shouldn't have been so ambitious to say I'd finish this book that I haven't finished in like multiple years, in like a few days or like a week. But
Yeah,
we'll do a monthly. It's like rep prep. We'll do a Conversations with Friends check-in. How's that going? Well, currently it's being used as a mic stand, so we'll see what happens with it next month. Where will it end up?
all right.
Twilight. We got off
At
track.
the 2012 Grammys, this is when Taylor, again, she wrote mean about the 2010 Grammys and the criticism she received. So she goes on to do the most Taylor thing ever. And in her live performance at the Grammys, she sings mean.
With the Grammy lyric shout out.
Yes. One day I'll be singing this at the Grammys.
Slay.
She also ended up winning 2 Grammys for the song. So not only did she perform it, but she won for it. And when she accepted the award, it's just peak Taylor. This one really means a lot to me.
Because this is for a song called Mean that I wrote. There's really no feeling quite like writing a song about someone who's really mean to you and someone who completely hates you and makes your life miserable and then winning a Grammy for it. Thank you.
Dang. I mean, she also just like dipped out for 2 years, came back and was like, yeah, I wrote this album called Speak Now. You know, I'm good now. I'm back on it. Took some time to reflect.
She was like, you're going to criticize my voice. And people also criticized her songwriting. So she was like, I'm going to come back and write an album completely by myself. No co-writers this time. And roast you. And then win a Grammy for it.
You're right. The Grammys are problematic for her. I mean, when you think about like the Times article and just like how she went back into where, you know, all the drama started and how people just, you know, kept knocking her down, just how hard it is to be a pop star or, you know, musician in the first place, let alone like a female musician, and to make it. And then it's like these little, she's like 2 years into her career at the time, 2010, and it's like, wow, it begins. You started having success, and then someone's just like, some man's trying to take it away from you. And good on her for having the backbone to keep going back then, because, you know, she was so fragile back then.
Right?
But she knew, she was like, dude, I have so many other songs to write. I can't stop now.
She bet on herself.
And I did win a Grammy or two, so it's like, might as well keep going.
Yep.
It's one dude's opinion. Thank God.
Thank God.
And we got Speak Now.
Honestly, thank you, Bob.
And then she went and dated, you know, John Mayer, and then comes back after all of that hell. And then she's probably just like, okay, been through it, you know, dated John Mayer, fucked around. Also, this was post Jake Gyllenhaal. So, like, she's really, like, she's been through it in her very few years in the spotlight. And so, you know, toughened her up real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on to 2013. Pre-1989 era. Post Harry Styles now. They broke up the month before. Once again, adding more men to her catalog, if you will, of lessons learned and fuckboys, you know, that come and go and just really aren't worth her time. It was the year of twerking. I guess. The Harlem Shake.
Oh.
Selfies. And like selfies really blowing up. And Vine. Here's looking at you, Shawn Mendes, who apparently got a lot of his fame from Vine, kind of like Biebs got his from YouTube and Usher.
I didn't realize that with Shawn Mendes. Huh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Little baby Shawn Mendes, who then opened for Taylor the following, or I guess it was 2 years later by the time the tour happened, but for 1989. Thank you, Vine.
Would you like to explain to the youngins what Vine is?
Vine's like TikTok, but like shorter. That's it.
You're right. It really was like the original TikTok.
It's literally, it's like, what, 5-second videos?
Yeah.
I forget what the limit was. It was, had to be longer than that because you couldn't post singing videos. Whatever it was literally like TikTok, pre-TikTok.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good stuff. Like the, damn, Daniel, back at it again with the white vans.
Yeah.
That was a Vine.
Daniel.
Damn, Daniel. Yeah, man.
I forgot about
iconic
that.
stuff lives in the Vines archives.
I forgot
man.
about that. Oh, you're right. This was the 55th Grammys. And again, just the resilience of Taylor coming back and just continuing to perform and distance herself from the criticism. She opened the Grammys in 2013 with a performance which is so unhinged of "We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together." It is like so over the top. I love it. And she directly calls out Harry in this performance with a British accent. So he calls me and he's like, "I still miss you," or "I still love you." And I'm like, "We are never getting back together, like ever." And I'm not doing the British accent because we are gonna play it. We know I can't do accents.
And we're like, "We're never getting back together." That's her line. That's wrong.
So he calls me up and he's like, "I still love you." And I'm like, "I'm sorry, I'm busy opening up the Grammys."
Wow, so her accent was just like mine.
Mm-hmm.
I still love you. You sound like you're from London.
You know I love a London boy.
Which is relevant to the fact that I had mentioned they had just broken up the month before. So she was like, okay. I mean, she stays flexing on him. I'll give it to her, man. Stays flexing.
The direct shots in her Grammy performances are just... that's why I love her, man. She's not scared to cause some headlines.
2014, pre-1989 era. Coming that fall. 2014. I got lazier as the years went on because obviously, even though this was 10 years ago, it didn't feel like that long ago. Yes, it did. But anyway, the year of the lob, which is still relevant. I had a lob a few years ago. But I guess, that's when Taylor had her little, it was kind of a lob. Yeah, where, for those who don't know, a lob is like longer in the back and like a little bit shorter tapered in the front.
Okay,
so it's
I
like a
really
bob.
didn't know what lob meant. I'm like...
Okay, I'm glad I explained it for those who didn't know. It's like a bob, which, is where it's like just short,
Mhm.
but it's longer. So it's like a long bob.
Oh.
And then it was Jelena's second time dating out of the 3. Did not realize that they broke up 3 times. And that is why And then they dated for years during like the first stint and so on and so on.
Oh, yeah. Is It Over Now could equally be written about Selena and the Biebs if it weren't for some very, very specific lyrics referencing Harry. But the overall theme could be them. A lot of people thought Question was about them. So in 2014, Taylor was nominated for 4 different awards, as this is her Red nominations. So Red was nominated for Album of the Year and Best Country Album. Begin Again was nominated for Best Country Song, and Highway Don't Care was nominated for Best Country Duo Group Performance. She did that one with Tim McGraw and Keith Urban. First of all, she performed All Too Well. This was like pretty much just due to the fan request. Like, it wasn't a single off of Red, and she performs it, and this is where we get the Taylor like head thrashing on the piano. Her hair was kind of like layered at this point.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was wild.
Yeah, she's like throwing her head back, and this was like the beginning of what would become obviously a very long run with the fans and All Too Well. And then
I thought you were going to say something bad about it.
why? Do you have a negative thought?
No, it sounded so foreboding where you were going with that, but
No, so Red was, like I said, nominated for Album of the Year, and this became another infamous Grammys moment for Taylor. It's that when they were announcing the winner, they said an Album of the Year goes to Random Access Memories by Daft Punk. And for about 2 seconds, Taylor thought they were saying Red.
she heard what she wanted to hear.
And the people around her too. Like, when you watch it back, like everyone in her little shot is like,
Thank God she didn't like get up and like really
right.
jump the gun. And that's why when we talked about her at the Golden Globes when she was nominated recently, how it was like now she's the opposite. Now when they say it, she just sits there like, let me take it all in. Oh, and then let me cheer very excitedly for the person who won against me because I have a lot to make up for still from 10 years ago.
You're so right. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just like revisionist history, but I don't really remember people like giving her that much of a hard time. If anything, the people around her in her shot reacted more than she did. She kind of had like a, and then she very quickly started clapping. Other people were like, well, hands almost up. But because this is when I started really becoming a swiftie, like I remember watching the 1989 World Tour movie, and she talks about this night as what started her 1989 journey. She was like, I was so crushed because I thought we had it, but we didn't have it. And so I went home and I like cried. And then at 4 a.m, I was like, everything in this new era has to be different. I'm going to call it 1989. And this is what launched her into full on pop. It was like literally losing Album of the Year.
Because now she's 4 albums in. Math. Did I get that right? 4 albums in.
5.
No, before 1989. See, we really need debut. Fearless.
Speak now. Red. Yeah, you're right.
And Red.
You're right.
Yeah.
She was 4.
Yeah. Okay. I was
4.
like, so yeah, now she's 4 albums in, and she's only won Best Album of the Year for one of them.
Only.
For Fearless. I know, but as we know, and as she proves, it's like that's not enough. You know what I mean? I'm sure she also got like the itch. It's like she won the first one and was probably like, all right, sick. And then, I mean, as we all know, Red was an incredible album. And it's like, Speak Now was good compared to Fearless. Like, I don't know. I feel like they were way better. And she won for Fearless, so she's probably like, okay.
But Fearless
constantly
had
guessing
Love
the
Story
album.
and You Belong With Me. Those were just
I
like...
know. Some of her still most iconic songs.
Yeah.
I know. And so, as we know with so many of her albums, it's like, here's just another one where she's like, all right, gonna do better next time.
Mm-hmm.
This time I'm gonna change up the whole game and I'm gonna go pop because this country shit ain't working. And I'm done with it. Smart, though. Smart move on her part. She probably wouldn't have lasted at all if she stayed in country. It's very specific, very niche, boring genre.
I mean, she's great at whatever she does, but I think especially in these last few years, we've learned that like Taylor likes to challenge herself. So yeah, I think she would have gotten bored. The fans would have still liked it. She wouldn't have bridged out to like gain those bigger, I mean, Red had a lot of top 40 songs on it. Like it was close to pop, but it was still technically country.
I think she probably also was just like experiencing the world so much more by that point, where it's like, you know, she grew up at a Christmas tree farm in Pennsylvania.
Really?
Then she Oh, I was like, I thought maybe you didn't know the Pennsylvania part. I know you knew the Christmas tree part. And then moves to Tennessee to like skyrocket, you know, propel her career. Then she gets to see the world, do things, dates Harry Styles, whatever. Now she's not talking about pickup trucks anymore, you know? Like, it's time to move on. I don't know how often she's saying about pickup trucks. Probably not. Oh, what's the one? In a pickup truck? I might be making that up.
No, you're right. I can't place it off the top of my head right now. But
I'm like, dang it, she did sing about a freaking
she absolutely. I think she sang multiple times about pickup trucks.
One does not sing country if they don't mention a pickup truck. Oh, Picture to Burn. Picture to Burn,
hate
baby.
That stupid old pickup truck.
You never let me drive. You're a redneck heartbreak who's really bad at lying.
So watch me strike a match on all my wasted time. As far as I'm concerned, you're just another picture to burn.
Picture to Burn. Apparently that's the only one. I googled pickup truck Taylor Swift, and that was the only one that came up. So, she talks about a Chevy truck. All from debut, though. She really left the trucks behind afterwards.
By rep, she's like, the Range Rovers and the Jaguars.
Right. I know, because that's when she talked about the car in the song Red, the Maserati. She's moved on very quickly from pickup trucks to Maserati. She's like, I've seen some shit. I dated Jake Gyllenhaal and Harry Styles. We aren't talking about pickup trucks. I'm not into that anymore.
And you were tossing me the car keys. Fuck the patriarchy.
2015. She started dating Calvin Harris. Big stuff.
Damn.
She was dating him during this. So great. She's like, once again, she's peaking as she does. And then the only main thing I wrote was squad goals. That's when she started to acquire her iconic crew with the models and the stuff. And this is when she's going to Victoria's Secret fashion show. And she's just like rocking the whole damn world and blowing socks off now that she's switched over to pop. And she's once again back on top.
Hell yeah.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
Foreshadowing.
She took Abigail to this Grammys. There is a very well-known now interview from this red carpet where the reporter is like, I think you're going to walk home with more than trophies. I think you're going to walk home with men tonight. And Taylor goes, I'm not going to walk home with any men tonight.
Yeah, by this point, she was very sick of people talking about her dating life because she dated a lot of notable men in that short span of time and unfortunately got a lot of stupid press for it. Unlike them.
Yep. So she was nominated for 3 awards for Shake It Off. She did not win any of them. Oh, and also in that red carpet interview, she referenced the squad. I know you said this is when it was beginning, but she was like, my whole squad is here. And she's like, I've got Abigail with me. And I think she mentioned like Lorde and the Haim sisters and Ed Sheeran. So, and then they allude to the fact that she's always dancing at award shows. They're like, oh, are you going to be dancing tonight? She's like, yeah, it's the biggest concert of the year. It's like all the best artists singing the best songs. It's like, she's still got that little spark. We're in 2015. It's not, they haven't fully extinguished it yet, but it's about to happen.
That's when like Pharrell's like grilling her. There's like video where he's just like looking at her. Like that's back when people got really mad, and they still kind of do because they're stupid, about her just being a human and having fun at these award shows versus them who are all just there stoic and, you know.
Stoic.
Dang it, I did it again. Wait, I said it, then I was like, I didn't say that right. Stoic.
Oh, man.
Stoic. It's stoic. I don't care.
I think I had to edit that out of our last pod episode because it was in a tangent that went off way too far. So in case I did, Ryan doesn't know how to say stoic.
I just literally just rushed through that and then was like, wait.
Stoic.
Stoic. Great. I'm not a swiftie and I don't know how to read.
Or count.
Oh, God. The rumors are terrible and terrible
and cruel,
but most of them are true.
I I've done a lot of singing in this episode. I need to stop.
It's all right. It's the Grammys. This is on brand. All I have for 2016 is the year the world turned on Taylor Swift. I'm pretty sure that was like a headline of when I was like researching, and I was like,
accurate,
intense, not wrong. Molly,
Yep.
take it away.
Yeah. So 2016, Taylor's 26, and she wins for 1989. But before we get to that point in the evening, we need to set the scene a little bit. She won for Best Pop Vocal Album in the pre-show. And this is when Taylor and Jack first started working together, was for 1989. So who accepts the award in the pre-show? Our good buddy Jack Antonoff. And he calls her because she's in rehearsals for the live show. And she answers. He's like, Taylor, it's Jack. I'm not doing a bit. We just won for Best Pop Vocal Album. And she's like, is James Taylor there? And he's like, I don't know. Is James Taylor here? She's like, can someone tell James Taylor I love him? It's like at this point, she's won so many Grammys that she's like not even thinking. She's just wilding out somewhere in a dressing room while Jack's trying to accept like his award.
And a lot of people probably thought she was fucking around, but I would put money on the fact that that was probably a genuine phone call.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So then she goes on to open the Grammys for a second time. So the first time was We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together. And this time it's Are We Out of the Woods? And Jack plays it with her. This performance is epic. Do you remember it?
Do you remember? No.
She does like the double bridge and she's in like an all black sparkly bodysuit. And she's like, this is the 2016 Grammys, but tonight we start with 1989. And she does the freaking Victoria's Secret model walk down and like gets into the middle of the crowd and does the Out of the Woods. Oh, it's so good. And you just know that this is when she's really starting to hit her stride vocally. I mean, when you go back and watch it in comparison to where she's at now, it's like still literally not comparable. But if you're comparing it to like 2010, that criticism, and even her performances of All Too Well or Mean or We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together, like this is her best vocal performance at the Grammys easily.
Yeah, that's when she was just doing crazy stuff and rolling around. Like you've seen that video of her performing. Was it All You Had to Do Was Stay, where she's lying on her back and just being really dramatic? You know what I'm talking about?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, she was peak dramatic at that era,
Mm-hmm.
in her 1989 era.
Yep.
Which was bold because, again, she was on the top of the world. She didn't give a shit.
But she did give a shit because clearly the Grammys history is in her brain, because even though she freaking crushed it, there was like a little part where she like kind of didn't hit the note as well as she could have. It wasn't like egregious. It just was a live performance. You know, there are going to be some mistakes. She's still pretty young. And so you see her like come off the stage after and she sits next to Selena because she went to the Grammys with Selena that year. And she like is wiping away a tear and she's saying to Selena like, I missed the note. And Selena's like, no, you were great. And Taylor's like, you're lying. Like she will not accept that it was a great performance. And she like turns to the person behind her and is like, did you hear the? And they're all trying to reassure her. And she's just like, no, I fucked it up again. Why do I keep doing this?
Sing off key in the chorus.
Oh,
You know
yeah.
that's from?
Sing off key in my chorus.
Chorus.
When
Oh, yeah. I
wasn't
thought about that
yours?
earlier. We were singing.
So the other big thing happening around this time frame, again, there are just so many huge Taylor moments that freaking collide at the Grammys. So at this point, we're not going to get into the whole Kim, Kanye of it all right now. But for the context, the song Famous by Kanye had been released at this point.
Make that bitch famous.
It came out like that week. Yes. And he says, me and Taylor might still have sex.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Why? I made that bitch famous. So that dropped on February 9th. The Grammys were on February 15th.
Also, did the music video drop yet?
The music
at that time?
So that when I was going back and looking at this, I forgot how long of a time span all of this went down in. Like in my brain, it's like song, music video, Taylor says he didn't have approval, Kim drops the tapes. In reality, this played out over several months, almost up to a year of all of this back and forth. So at this point, it's just the song Famous that has been released, no music video, and there's been no tapes leaking. Like no one knows about that part of it yet. Kanye drops Famous, and then 6 days later, Taylor's accepting the Grammy for winning Album of the Year for a historic second time. And when she accepts the Grammy, she says, as the first woman to win Album of the Year at the Grammys twice,
There are going to be people along the way who will try to undercut your success or take credit for your accomplishments or your fame. But if you just focus on the work,
and you don't let those people sidetrack you, someday when you get where you're going, you'll look around and you'll know it was you and the people who love you that put you there. And that will be the greatest feeling in the world. Thank you for this moment.
Bet on yourself.
The way she says your fame, like someone will try and take credit for your accomplishments or your fame, it's like so obvious she's coming at Kanye. I just won for Album of the Year for a second time, and you think you made me famous.
Also, sorry, what year did the VMAs thing happen?
2009.
Oh, I was so much earlier.
Mm-hmm. So technically the Kanye jumping on stage technically happened before she won the Grammy for Fearless.
Which is technically where the Kanye drama started, but he obviously had many years of not really doing much. And then out of nowhere says that he made Taylor famous, which makes literally no sense. It's like, what? Because you made a scene at the VMAs? Yeah, obviously the music video showing a creepy AI person, whatever the heck doll thing it was.
It was like a mannequin, yeah.
Yeah, of a bunch of nude celebrities, people. I don't know. If
Just like
people.
famous people. Yeah, like
Yeah,
Trump was one
nude.
of them. Yeah.
And a very creepy, accurate looking representation. And of course, there's Taylor Swift, like, I think right next to him, like very close, like in the bed of all these creepy nude celebrities. Yep, there's Taylor Swift with a very accurate, I mean, not like we've seen her naked, but you know what I mean. Looked like her. Yeah, very inappropriate. So he took it from a line that's like, could just be seen as like trash talking to like, why did you put my naked body look-alike in your video? Why?
Yeah, he did all that after this. Like after she's pretty much openly on stage calling him out, he's like, nah, I'm gonna go release this freaking music video. So yeah, she was nominated in 5 categories that year. She won 2 of them. Or wait, she won 3 of them. Album of the Year, Best Pop Vocal Album, and Best Music Video for Bad Blood. And yeah, she's on top of the world, but Kanye is starting to try to bring her down. And again, we don't have time to get into it here, but he and Kim succeed in bringing her down, and Taylor doesn't attend the Grammys for the next 4 years.
She's going through it.
Yep. She had attended it for 6 years straight, and then she doesn't show up for 4 years. She was nominated in 2018 and in 2019 and in 2020, and she did not come.
Did she win any of those?
No.
That she wasn't there? That's probably why she didn't go. Because we always talk about this. Like, does she know beforehand? Probably.
Maybe.
It was a bit of a statement piece / you know, her just going through it and probably being disappointed with what came out. Because as we know, that's when the video came out of where she made Reputation and then was like, oh, it's not doing very well. It's fine. I'll do better again next time. Which we always reference that, or I always reference that, because that's why I'm just like, poor baby Rep was just like, you know,
I'll make a better album.
It was her Red, you know, where we literally just said that, where she's like, oh, it's okay. I'll do it better next time, you know, and switch to Pop. It's like, all right, I'll do it better next time. It's like Red was an incredible album. Didn't need to be redone and better. Rep was obviously an incredible album. And then she came out with Lover, and it's like an incredible album, but it's just so disappointing to just discard your work that way just because a bunch of idiots, you know, aren't respecting it the way that they should. And now look at it. And like, does she care that everyone loves Rep and they're freaking obsessed with it beyond belief? I hope so.
I think it's going to get the accolades it deserves soon.
I hope it makes her happy and it's like good, like justice, you know?
Yeah.
She was like, all right, clearly people like it now. Or we
It all-
all liked it.
yeah.
We liked it all along.
Yeah, the fans always liked it. It was the critics who didn't.
I know, which is unfortunately sometimes, at least back then, she wasn't, I feel like their opinions mattered more. And now I do really feel like the last however many years, our opinions matter more.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she's also crushing it, so it's hard to really say.
I think it was like, as the picture we're painting here, it's like Kim and Kanye take her down. She like hides from the world. She comes back with Reputation. Like the fans were so excited, but the critics didn't like it. And she's just like, why do I keep taking L's, man? And for people who maybe don't know what you were referencing, it was a scene in Miss Americana, which is on Netflix. And it starts with kind of picking up as Taylor's getting ready for the Lover era. And it shows the nomination announcement day for the Grammys, and Tree Payne, her publicist, calls her and is like, so far for all of the like bigger categories that have been announced, like Reputation is not nominated. And Taylor's like, okay, all right, it's fine. I'm gonna make a better album. And Tree's like, Reputation is a great album. And Taylor's like, no, I'm gonna make a better album. Like clearly holding back tears.
Had she got on tour yet for Rep at that time? I guess so, yeah. It would have been the year before, just like
yeah,
1989.
because
Yeah.
the year, so Reputation did end up getting nominated for Best Pop Vocal Album, but it didn't win. And yeah, that was in 2019. So the Rep tour had already happened. And instead of attending the Grammys that year, she attended the BAFTA's after party with Joe Alwyn.
It's fine. I'll just hang out with my, cool actor boyfriend, and this is my life now. I'm accepted my fate.
It was like one of the only times we saw them out too. She looks like a royal. She's in like a blue like pea coat thing, and he's in like a tux. But she didn't even go to the actual award ceremony with him. She just went to the after party. It's like,
She was in a weird place back then.
yeah.
She didn't know what she wanted. Obviously, she didn't want any of that, boy included.
So, yeah, 2020, she was nominated for Lover for Song of the Year, for Best Pop Vocal Album, and You Need to Calm Down was nominated for Best Pop Solo Performance. She didn't win any of those. And then she makes her triumphant return in 2021. You have any fun facts for 2021?
Well, according to my math, that was like 7 years ago, right? So
I'm kidding.
I don't have any fun facts.
Okay, I have a fun fact. This one we watched together.
We did? IRL?
Yeah.
That is a fun fact.
Because the Grammys are a little bit before your birthday, but we don't live in the same state now, but we weren't living in the same state at that time either. And you came back in town, and we were at a brewery with some of your friends to celebrate your birthday a little early. And the Grammys were going on while we were there, but we had DVR'd it back at my house, and you were staying with me. So we like saw it come up on the screen when we were out, and then we went home and we DVR'd it and watched it. And Taylor won for Album of the Year for Folklore.
That's when she had the pretty, like the flower dress with the crazy flower mask.
Mm-hmm.
She was so stoic. She was so like composed. I do remember like her at that award show, and she was just so like calm.
Well, it was also
she-
COVID times. Like they were all wearing
Yeah, it was
masks
weird.
and stuff.
It was fucking weird.
Yeah.
I know.
That's when she performed with Jack and Aaron, the mashup of Cardigan, August, and Willow.
Oh, and the cute little cabin.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. That was a good performance. Probably one of her top Grammy performances for sure.
Oh, yeah.
She was just so happy and thriving, and just like, I don't know, COVID changed her, man. I think she just really like started to reevaluate her priorities and like what mattered. And I mean, she was still dating Joe, unfortunately. God, for 2 more years, but 1 more year, whatever.
Yeah, so when they won for Folklore, Aaron Dessner got up and spoke first, which I just think is so cute that she let him go first. And then she spoke second, and she shouted out Joe directly in the speech, unfortunately.
Even though, why wasn't he there? What was he doing? That was his only time to go with her to the Grammys. And where was he?
Yeah, he's a contributor on the album. Now, I will say they had to all quarantine like in a house leading up to this. So it was like Aaron, Jack, and Taylor, Laura, and the other people who worked on the album with them. There was a small group that went to the Grammys. And so maybe Joe just couldn't cut it to hang in quarantine for like a week before the Grammys with all of them.
Didn't I make a joke that Will William Bowery, aka Joe, doesn't actually exist, and she just wrote him in to make him feel important during the whole process. I feel like I joked
There's
about
like
that.
a fan theories about that for sure.
I don't believe he's real and that he contributed anything. I don't want to hear about, oh, Joe playing the piano and he always listens first when to listen to my music. It's like, is he? Is he? What does he say about it?
That's literally what she says
mind.
in this speech. Joe, who is the first person that I
know.
play every single song that I write, I had the best time writing songs with you in quarantine.
That was a huge offense to Jack. They always joke about that. How he's just like, what?
Hello?
Like this guy? This guy? He hears it before I do? How is that possible? You call me at 2 a.m. and you're like, oh my God, I just freaking concocted this in my dreams. It's like, yeah, I woke Joe up first to tell him about it. But then I told you.
Jack's like, yeah, all right, you tell him whatever you want.
Yeah.
We all know the truth.
Hey, I want to write him in and say he's a secret songwriter and just play this whole like thing. You know, he's really feeling kind of low. Conversations with Friends didn't do so great. And, you know, he just needs a W.
Yeah, after the You're Losing Me timeline came out, people were going back and finding clips of Jack, and this is one of them where Taylor's like, I want to thank Joe, and Jack's in the background and he's kind of like raising his eyes like, all right.
Yeah. Okay, William Bowery.
Or like in the Long Pond sessions, he's like, well, William Bowery, he's not a real person. And Taylor's like, Jack. And he's like, what? He's like,
Joe played one note for that one song, you know? Doesn't count.
it's so good.
She tried so hard.
Yeah.
Why do we always talk about Joe? Why?
This was relevant. She thanked him in
Ah.
her speech. Like, we had to talk about it.
God.
Yeah. I mean, if you haven't seen the performance of Cardigan, August, and Willow, just also go watch it because it's so good.
She's so happy.
It's so good.
She's like so happy in it.
and that was the
She's
first
just, like, bopping
time.
around.
Like, so she hadn't been to the Grammys in 4 years. We're coming out of COVID. And she's dropped 2 new albums. She hasn't been able to
Folk
perform
albums.
any of them. Yeah, it's like the first time
Yeah.
they're performing it live. It was just so great.
She's like, I didn't promote them. Never performed this. Yeah, it's folk. Yeah, it's not about, you know, real people. Yeah, here it is. And then it's like, oh, wait, people actually like this. Cool. That's great. Because I did spend a lot of time writing them, so I appreciate that.
Yep.
Like, she was so casual about it, but you know, if it was poorly received, she would have been, I'll make another album. It's like, girl, no one asked for this. You don't. I'll make 3 more and drop them 3 days apart.
2021 was epic. 2022, when Evermore is nominated for Album of the Year, she skips it.
Probably because I don't know. I don't know why she skipped it. What was she doing instead?
She was seen at an Oscars pre-party with Joe, like around this time, but it wasn't like the same weekend.
Once again, oh, I gotta go support my man. You know, he's feeling low again and needs, you know, it's okay. I've been to the Grammys so many times. It's fine. Evermore's probably not gonna win anyway. And then it didn't, which is bullshit. But
Yeah, Evermore is never beating the like least favorite child allegations.
like, you think it is the least favorite child?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
She
Out
gives
of
it
all
no
of her albums?
love. She gives it no love.
Oh.
Come on.
Well, that's because nobody else gave it love. So we all know how this goes. It's like Rep. We loved Evermore after I just said she started doing stuff for us. So the critics were like, you know. It was too close to folklore and it was too similar. Like, the vibes were really similar. Obviously, the songs are standalone and completely different. But you know what I mean? Like, the vibe was a little too close to home. So it's kind of hard for critics to really separate them. And because folklore came first, it gets the best, you know, most memorable.
Yeah, I don't blame the Grammys for it not winning. Like, it was still nominated for Album of the Year, which I think is huge in itself because of all the reasons that you just said. But she didn't go. She was nominated for. This isn't like before. She's like, oh, she was nominated for like I Don't Want to Live Forever and 50 Shades of Grey. Like, she doesn't go. It's like, you were nominated for Album of the Year and you won last year and you still skipped it.
Yeah.
Now we know she had written You're Losing Me like 2 months before that. So who knows what she was going through.
Right. Yeah, she was going through it. She was suffering through another stupid award show with Joe, just being supportive, unlike him, probably thinking about breaking up with him, you know, going through it.
And that brings us to the most recent Grammys, which was last year, and she looked like a freaking smoke show in her long-sleeved blue crop top with the skirt. It was so Midnight's, like, crushed the look. The red carpet media was going insane. They were like freaking screaming at her, like, Taylor. And she goes, "We're not going to rush you. Everyone calm down." And then you can hear someone go, "Thanks for calming us down." This is like the media. This isn't even her fans. And there's not like a whole lot from this night. She ended up winning the best music video for the All Too Well short film. But otherwise, the whole night is pretty much just funny clips of her like drinking and dancing and like doing funny things to Jack.
She was probably just such low pressure. She's just, I think she likes to go sometimes when she's not performing. She's not like, nothing's really on the line, because then she'd just be normal and just get drunk and fuck around.
Mm-hmm.
Which award show was it that she announced Midnight's?
That was at the VMAs.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
That's right.
So that was in like August.
Where she did care. And now looking back, that was a very Midnight's dress.
Mm-hmm.
That was an Easter egg that we didn't know existed.
Yep.
That's why we pay way too close attention to what she wears now, because it's like, we didn't know. Now it's like, dang, okay.
Oh, totally. Yeah. The last thing I'll add about last year's Grammys is that Harry won for Album of the Year, and like no one cheered, and someone even yelled like, "Get off the stage." And so what does Taylor do? She gets up and she's like solo standing ovation for Harry, like trying to cheer him on.
And that's when she went to talk to him that night too, and there was like a lot of photos of like, yeah. And then she drops 1989 Deluxe, or not even just Deluxe, just the Vault songs, and you're like, oh, okay. Thought you guys were good. It went from being like, when are they going to do a collab, to, oh, yeah.
When is Harry Styles going to be featured on 1989? Oh, Harry Styles died on 1989.
Yikes. Did she tell him about any of that? It's like, while she's like being nice to him and is like supporting him, it's like, does she tell her people, her dudes, beforehand? I don't think so.
There are definitely fan edits of like fake lip reading where they're like, "I'm gonna drag you next year with 1989 Vault tracks," and he's like, "Oh, great."
Amazing. Great. That sounds terrible for me. I'll
Just let me win tonight, okay? Drag me
he had
next
a very
year.
successful run up until then, you know? I mean, I love Harry Styles. Why do I love all of Taylor's exes? You know, they're just very talented, minus Joe. You know, even though I'm still reading his book. It's not his book, though. He was just in the show. Actually, you know what's funny is I saw someone on Instagram the other day that was like, "Oh, yeah, I'm starting conversations with friends." I was like, "Thank you." She's like, "Never got around to seeing it." And I was like, "Let me know how it is."
But club party of two.
I know. I'm like, can I join? Can we watch at the same time so I don't feel like a freaking the only one out there watching? Like the streaming pops up. It's like one viewer.
That's why I need you to read it so that you can watch it and we can finally talk about it. I've been sitting on this information alone for years.
I know. I need to. It's my homework. If I'm committed to this podcast, you know, after we just told the listeners that I'm a true swiftie, but there's a reason why I don't know anything, and then I'm going to dedicate time to reading Joe's book, which isn't his book. That's the show he was in. I mean, it's going to send the wrong message.
What better way to get you ready for the rep era than to take yourself back in time with a little Joe stuff?
Meanwhile, you're over here rereading The Hunger Games. It's like, we are not the same. You see? There's the comparison. I'm like, I read it once, like 10 years ago plus.
I actually think that if you want to get back into reading, The Hunger Games is a great way to do it, because I was fully not thinking I would reread the entire series. I just wanted to read the new book, but it was so good it made me want to reread the other ones.
I don't reread books. I don't have time. There's too many new ones. I can't do it.
I don't usually do this. I don't usually reread books.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on over there.
It's like a comfort book, you know? Sometimes it's like you watching Lil Dicky all the time.
Hey, he just dropped his new album. Peanut. You should reread Twilight, though, if you're gonna do it.
I never read Twilight.
And 50 Shades of Grey. Okay, well, now's the time. 50 Shades of Grey. Did you read that?
Yes.
You should read Twilight.
Okay, I'll read Twilight if you read Conversations with Friends.
Deal. Let's go.
Something tells me I'm going to be reading Twilight, and you're still not.
You're like, so I read all 4 books. I'm like, how? By the next 2 weeks from now podcast. Like, how?
Because they're written for children.
Side note, talking about the Grammys, back to Taylor, in the montage video that I watched about all the different years, I was so proud when she quoted The Office. I was like, I thought she was a Friends bitch, because she is. Yeah, she was like, oh, I like to quote The Office. Like, I'm not superstitious, just a little stitious. And I was like, my girl.
That's
okay.
Why I meant to say that line about why I'm wearing the same crew neck again.
Oh, I would have been so impressed.
I'm not
Fucked
superstitious. I'm just a little stitious. Although I am actually like highly superstitious. Highly. So we're going to be doing a lot of things in our household for weeks on end until the Chiefs lose because we're on a good luck train right now. So.
Oh my God. Including not washing that crew neck.
I have washed
You can't wash it.
I have washed it,
can't.
but I might not between now and the playoff game.
Yeah, it's critical time. You can't wash it.
Yeah.
And you have to wear it every day until the next game.
All right. So that covers the entire history of Taylor Swift at the Grammys. I hope you're starting to feel ready for
it. Sorry. It was too good.
I hope you're ready for it because Taylor is coming for the Grammys again very soon with many nominations for Midnights. But now that we have recapped everything, Ryan, do you have like one overall moment? It can be a performance. It could be an award. It could be just Taylor being Taylor and sticking it to the man at the Grammys, but do you have an overall favorite moment from Taylor's Grammy history so far?
Favorite performance would be the one from 2 years ago.
Cardigan Willow, August.
It was perfection in a box. I can't really quote anything, but I feel like her as a human, probably like 2008, like when she first started, just a goofy little, I don't know, her thoughts back then were gold and just absurd. And that's when she said the Office
quote. Don't feel
quote.
sorry for me. I missed the prom, but I've been to 2.
Yeah, she's so, yeah. What about you?
I think my favorite performance, obviously, I love the one that you just picked, but Out of the Woods, man.
I'm going to watch it after this.
It really is Taylor, like, taking a big turn from how her performances were to, like, skyrocketing her into stardom. And I just love that Jack is there and he's singing with her live. I think that's my favorite performance. And then favorite moment, as a whole, I just love that she's made an example of people at the Grammys with Mean, but especially, like, even though she got knocked off her pedestal real quick after, the fact that she says, like, people who try to take credit for your accomplishments and your fame, but no, it was you and your hard work and the people who love you. I just like, man, the next time that you need a motivational speech, go back and watch that speech because it'll make you want to rule the world.
Out of the Woods, it's interesting that Jack was there singing with her because remember, it was not that long ago that we didn't realize that he was on a bunch of her songs, including Out of the Woods.
That he was singing on them. Yeah.
Yeah. And he was literally doing it back then. And we were just like, oh, who's this guy?
Well, you don't really see him on camera during the part where he does sing. But yeah, that's how like I went down an Out of the Woods rabbit hole. So, all right. So yeah, that wraps up our episode for today. We will be back in 2 weeks. We're watching the Grammys together. We're going to have a reaction afterwards. We'll see how Taylor does. And like we said in the beginning of the episode, we are going to be getting you ready for the Eras Tour to come back in February. So whether you leave a comment on a YouTube video or you comment on our social media accounts, we want to hear if you've been to the Eras Tour in 2023, What do you recommend for fans getting ready in 2024 to bring to the Eras Tour? We're going to do a little segment on that next time. And while you're at it, why don't you just throw in what was your favorite moment from the Eras Tour so far in 2023? We want to hear from you guys if you're listening or watching. Again, subscribe on YouTube at @ItHitsDivPod or follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter/X. And we'll catch you in 2 weeks.
Like, follow, subscribe.
Bye.